Welcome to Redeeming Thunder and Daughters of Fire. Bro, sis, this prophetic word is for you. Now, the title of this word is, That's It, You're Moving On, huh? Okay. This is chapter 78, part 4, given to me on 7/15/2026. And there was something that you were to do in the month of July. These are appointed times, okay? And someone has missed their KAIROS moment. And the Most High is saying, that's it. You need to break camp. You need to journey out. Because the individual who missed their KAIROS moment was the potential king, ordained spouse. Okay? And so you still are on track to meet your appointed time, because the fact that you are obeying the Most High and moving forward and breaking camp, leaving the location where you once were into the open door, is proof that there's still something available to you. If you continue to stay without doing that move at the appointed time, then the plans are not going to work out. So you have to be radically obedient. There's a purpose to you breaking camp, journeying out at this time. All right? So during this time, I had heard a song called Good Good Father by 3B for Joy.
Good Father, it's who you are, it's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. Oh, and I've seen many searching for answers, far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect
So something is happening. Something is shifting in the atmosphere. And the potential king can feel the shift. Okay, this is occurring around mid-July through August. Okay? So what occurred is you had made a comment to the individual when you stated that you are going to embraced an open door that opened before you that was actually originally shut. They recognized it in the spiritual realm that something opened up for you. They understand closed doors and open doors, opportunities that arise and opportunities that are not opening up. They understand that. Okay? And so when you stated that you are very excited about this new opportunity, open door that was originally shut, and now the management approval, it got open again. Okay? So now you're going to be attending a location where he once was at, and he left that location. Okay? And that's why it kind of struck a chord there, because when you had originally done the detour trip with the potential king, okay, he wanted you to follow him through his new promotion and assignment, and you have done that assignment. Okay, but there's a new assignment for you that is coming for you. Okay? So now, why would it bother someone that you are moving on? Because it's possible that they care about you. But did they let their feelings, did they allow their feelings to be made known on a timely basis? They did not. Okay? Why else would it bother them as such for you to move on? Because that would mean you have branched away and they can't control your feelings to the level that they once were. Okay? And that means they're losing you in a way, because you're not going to be attending that location wherever you guys met and moved to as often as before, right? Because you're going to be occupied with that new assignment. Okay, why else would that person be feeling panicked? Because when they said, oh, so moving on then, huh? You said, yes, I guess I am. And you said it because the night prior, the Most High says you got to break camp. Actually, for a while now, he's been saying you need to break camp through these prophetic words. It's purposeful to leave at this appointed time, which you will know in the next chapters to come. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the notification bell so you are prompted of when there's a new episode launched. All right, so why else though would someone be a bit panicked unless he felt there was some competition, right? If he felt that is not a big deal, it's not a big deal, he doesn't feel any competition, he would have been like, sure, cool, you're coming here, you're going over there. Because you stated, well, I'm still going to come over here, but not as often, because I'm going to be going over there to your new assignment, right? And that person, eyes started getting watery. The color of the eyes started changing, okay, to a dull color, okay? And they started visibly, physically looking distressed. Why would they do that? Unless they know something that you do not know. Or he thinks that you do not know. But then you've been listening to the prophetic words and you're getting inside scoop. So you kind of know that where you're going to be going might actually open a marriage door as well. An ordained spouse. Possibly might be where somebody else, you might be running into someone very special. Okay? And there's something that you still have to do. So there's something that the Most High wants you to do. He wants you to give the potential king an explanation, either through a letter or through a text. Okay? Something like that. And then he wants you to go. Just leave and do not return for a while and let him think it over. Let's say 2 to 3 weeks tops. So if you haven't done this yet in the month of July, you need to do this in the month of August. Quite promptly now. Because we're in the appointed times. And then the Most High says, then come back and make him yours. Which I found very interesting that he said that comment, because I feel like he's insinuating something that is going to occur. Because this person that we're talking about hasn't launched yet towards you. There was a restraint. There was a restraint that has been occurring. And you will know what this restraint is on chapter 79, part 4 and 5. This person has been displaying body language of attraction for a good while. So bright, sparkly eyes, pupils dilated, visibly taken back when he sees you. A big smile, almost looks hungry. Okay, there is a lot of attraction, a lot of being of examples of being enticed and not just interested in you as a friend, but interested in you because there's chemistry, and then there's emotional attachment. Okay, there is moments of sincere connection that is supernatural. And why was the song necessary? Good Father. Because you care about this person so much, okay? And it may be where, because you're so attached to this person, you do not want to leave at this time frame. But guess what? You also love yourself. Right? You need to love yourself, because that's part of attracting love. Well, you need to have high standards, because that's part of setting the tone to show people how to treat you. And the good Father, he's trying to show you that the Heavenly Father is taking care of business. Your Heavenly Father is handling business, okay? So he's already having another plan while this is simmering. He's looking out for your best interest. And he's not really looking out for the interest of the individuals who do not take the call on time or at all. And he's saying that he really loves you and knows what you need before you even say it. And he knows you've been on hold. He knows you've been waiting and pining because you've been expectant. This transition, this conversation has caused him to retreat and probably to go into a fear avoidant situation or an anxious avoidant situation all the more. Because that has been their go-to of how they solve problems. They just retreat. Okay? And you need some breakthrough. You need to obey the Heavenly Father regardless. Because you're being led by the Heavenly Father. You're not being led by individuals on this world. And during this time, your heart could be hurting and breaking quite a bit. But the Most High is trying to tell you something. You're in your Kairos season, and you need to launch forth and go through the open door that's being presented to you. Because this is where the Joseph's mantle gets noticed. You have the Joseph's mantle on you. And someone is going to notice that through that other open door. Where you were at and where you were doing the volunteer work, those individuals were not noticing your Joseph's mantle. They were believing that with their own skills and professionalism in their professions, they have been being blessed that way. They didn't realize that every time you step foot in that building, they were getting blessed because of you. You carry fortune. You literally are like a lucky charm walking around. Light is illuminating off of you. Why? Because you have favor of the Most High. You have favor of the King of Kings. You don't have bad luck. Okay? It's like you are a precious gem, and heaven is shining on you. And so when people treat you wrong, and they treat you bad, and they discount you, they disregard you, the Most High doesn't want you to hang around and allow them to reap off of your vitality and your abundance and your illumination light. And he doesn't want them to gain fortune by your illumination of favor and grace. They've reaped enough. That is why you have to step away at this time. Even though you still care and possibly love that person. Okay? Now in that letter, you're going to be sharing details. Or text message, whatever. So you're going, or email. You're going to explain your standards. Your feelings. Okay, that you chose the individual, but you need to feel chosen. It's time for you to feel chosen and not to feel confused of what's going on here. No more push and pull. So you need someone healed, not with their fear avoidant or their anxious avoidance. Okay? Not with any kind of dismissal. Because what's going on is they've seen you strong and brave and handling many, many obstacles. And they see that you're doing it. So they think you got it. But they see you crumbling. And then they're picking up the pieces how you crumble. But they're not picking it up to the level of the standard that you need. And that the Heavenly Father thinks that you need. Knows that you need. They're still having you resolve all of these issues all by yourself, which then makes you feel like you never even left a dismissive avoidant. Now you're with another dismissive avoidant. The counterfeits were dismissive avoidance. You can't get into a ordained spouse relationship union that's a dismissive avoidant. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. It should. It should ring a bell. You need someone that's engaged and ready to pursue and be all in. You can't do life all by yourself. There's certain people that have this mandate, that have this mantle, and the role that they're having, the ministry is being the husband and the father of many nations. They're basically receiving an Abraham mantle, the father of many nations. You are the mother of many nations. They need to understand that piece and be all in. So, all in as of the beginning, when you're starting to date, when you're starting to explain, and this is the funny part. You haven't even started dating. You haven't even started dating, yet it feels like you guys are so close, like you have been dating. Okay? And what you're asking is not too much. I know you feel like, well, how is this person just going to chime right in and be a husband and a father? Because a lot of these ordained marriages, there's not a lot of dating going on. Like, you find that they're the one, and then they want to marry you right away. You don't really have a lot of dating. A lot of these prophetic words that are occurring within what I receive and what I've been noticing, a pattern, is that Heavenly Father is giving the same message to me as to those individuals. For example, Samuel E. Malumbe, Purpose and Promise with Judith, and several others are receiving prophetic word that they want to marry you without dating you. Because when you guys were getting to know each other, you guys, it already felt confirmed. And now it's basically the story of Ruth and Boaz. They didn't date. She was in his garden, in his field, line of work, gleaning the fields, and he was observing her. Okay? And then suddenly she had given insight. Her mother-in-law, Naomi, advised her to meet him at the threshing floor and to have her grab his tunic and cover her feet with his tunic at the bottom, right, where his feet were at. So now both feet are covered. That is symbolic of someone saying, I choose you to be my kinsman redeemer. So in this situation, in this letter, you are doing that exact thing and saying, I choose you. Because you already know who this person is in your life. But you're saying, I feel that it's the quote unquote, that's it. Moving on, because I don't feel secure with the decision. I don't feel supported. There's actually a lot of chaos occurring in the background that you haven't told the individual yet what you were dealing with. There's been some monitoring spirits all around him whispering comments about you. And you knew, but he didn't know that you knew. Now you're sharing that you knew all along that they were doing that. And he was sort of listening to them, which is part of the delay. Okay? Then the other thing that was occurring is a lot of havoc and a lot of mistreatment, narcissistic abuse towards you in that location, which was prophetic word through a dream confirming that that was going to occur. There's going to be some obstacles. What you didn't know is how bad it was going to hurt. You were out there doing free work for service, just like Ruth. Free work for some grain. And in her story, nobody really treated her bad when she was going to work. In your story, people were. But that was the test of their character. Seeing a lowly, humble situation. It was temporary, okay? There was another prophetic word regarding a shack, okay? And he was to embrace you regardless of your financial situation, because it's temporary, right? Okay. And for the most part, he has been doing such a sweetheart job, but there lacked some follow through and protection. When you needed more support and asking for assistance, for protection if someone's being mean. At first, the dream stated that he would shy away and not stand up. And that disheartened you. And then when it manifested in real life, that disheartened you all the more. And so you're getting to see what's happening in the future through these prophetic dreams on this channel. And then it helps to know ahead of time, but it hurts so bad when it's actually happening. It is so much sorrow. And instead of you feeling like the chosen woman, Rachel with Jacob, you ended up starting to feel like the Leah. And that is why the Most High has been doing, taking action behind the scenes and moving you up and out. So while this person is saying, okay, so that's it, moving on then, all you said it was you're going to be attending another place alongside this place, but they took it as you're literally just moving up and out. Because maybe they felt that the shift in the spirit, that's possibly what you meant. They're very intuitive. Why? Because you guys had a soul tie. They have that special gift. It's like a supernatural gift. They can read you and your body language and your eyes and your facial expressions, everything. And that person is crumbling. Okay, so now I hear while praying in the spirit, O Ama Sana, exclamation handmaid in this revolution of time. That means you're still a handmaid. You're still of marriageable age. Ruth was a handmaid of marriageable age. You're still in season to get married in this time frame. And this word is manifesting during the month of Av, which is when the Hebrew month, when the Heavenly Father comes down to earth and solves your problems himself. That's how much he cares about you, which reflects the song, Good, Good Father. Okay, so now I hear, while praying in the spirit, O Makaya, which means exclamation, who, what, why. It can mean what, it can mean who, or it can mean why. Okay? And then Kaya means full of grace, to be a keeper of the faith. It also means wise protector, and Yahuwah is my strength. So in other words, he's asking you, I am bringing you two different men to you. Who do you want? Why is he asking you that? Because you're obeying him and you're leaving. And you're leaving the potential spouse, potential king ordained spouse, to meet a different ordained spouse in that open door. And he's asking you, what do you want? And you're going to cringe maybe and think, please don't ask me that because I don't know. But he literally needs you to answer. Because even though you answer that you want what he wants and you want to go through that open door, he knows your heart is still desiring what he originally sent you first, which was the potential king ordained spouse. Okay? So you're going to tell him what you want. And a lot of you are not used to saying what you want because throughout your entire life, it almost felt like you dealt with an arranged marriage. It's almost felt like you've been with counterfeits for the sake of saving them. Because you knew that without you, they wouldn't make it. So you chose them. You chose to be in relationships because you were in deep need. Right? Of a rescue, possibly. Living in survival mode. So sometimes you just got into a relationship to get out of your home life because it was horrible there. So you just get into a relationship to run away from something else that you didn't like. And you haven't ever got to experience getting in a relationship with someone that you really love. Or You were positioned to be in a relationship and get married because that was what you were supposed to do, but you didn't really know what love was back then. And it was the purpose of conceiving children for offspring for the kingdom. And you didn't really get to be in a relationship where you really were in love with that person. You finally found someone that you felt like you experienced that, and there was something there. And so now the Most High is giving you 2 opportunities to feel that in your life, back to back. 2 different ordained spouse. You're going to be able to feel that level of immense love and wanting to be in those relationships. Okay? But there might be one that you feel more inclined to. And so just tell your Heavenly Father what you would want. Why is He asking you what do you want? Exclamation. Behold. Because there's an opportunity. Because you are full of grace. You have literally favor of the Most High. That's what it means. That He can still give you what you want. So He's giving you 2 choices and you have a choice. Okay? And so you were going to let Him know what you want. Because He knows your deepest secrets, even though you don't say it. But there's still a process that needs to be done in order for it to manifest. There's certain people need a little nudge. They need to sometimes crash out in order to open their eyes. Okay? So the Most High says, okay, so it be. That means He approved it. Now the Most High is saying, provide the letter. The letter states what you need and what you want. But it also states that you love yourself and that you are able to walk away if you need to. And that comment right there shook them to their core. Okay? So Abba says, don't stress, let it soak and simmer. Give him the letter or the email or the text, okay? And then you're going to be off on your way towards walking towards the new open door. When he finds out that there's associates that have been barriers to your connection, and it's causing you a lot of emotional strife to even walk through the doors, to becoming to feel unsafe and unseen. And what was supposed to be you giving free service is seeming like an individual there is very jealous of your light and is actually trying to boot you out. And you have let your potential king ordained spouse know of that. Now, it's up to them what they're going to do about it. Because that's when they're supposed to step in and defend you, right? Meanwhile, you walk away. So in that moment, he starts to realize that he thought that he was being emotionally supportive enough for you. He thought that pretty much breadcrumbs would still be okay. Or he thought that the push and pull was reeling you in. The push and pull was keeping you interested. What I'm talking about push and pull is when someone gives you inklings and insinuating a lot of interest into your life and connection, and then when it looks like it's going somewhere, all of a sudden they pull away. Okay? And they make it seem like it's all in your head. And it really wasn't. And this person craves intimacy, at the same time they're afraid of it. And there's something of a barrier that I need you to understand watching 79 part 4 and 5. Now, for more relationship advice, you can watch Magnetize Your Man with Brody and Antia. And this video explains why it's important to let go and walk away. The title of this is Men Secretly Crave a Woman Who Can Let Go.
You did everything right. You were kind, you were patient, you gave him everything you had, and he still went quiet. My name is Brody Boyd, and today I'm going to break down exactly what happens energetically when a man pulls away and what you need to do to reclaim your power and your feminine magnetism. I have spent years helping women decode how men actually work, and I'm tired of watching good women lose good men by doing the one thing that quietly pushes them away. Because here's what almost no one tells you. This was never about your effort. It was about how a man is wired. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why men are extremely attracted to a woman who can detach and what happens in his mind the moment you stop chasing. Number 7 is the one almost no woman sees coming. I'm Brody Boyd, and together with my wife, Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women for over 20 years combined to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship with a man they want fast. So let's get right into it. A man feels your absence far more than he ever felt your presence. The most powerful thing you can do when a man ignores you is let him feel what life is like without you in it. And I don't mean playing games. I don't mean pretending to be busy when you're actually obsessing over him. I mean genuinely detaching, genuinely moving your energy away from him and back to yourself. Because when you do that, you truly pull your energy back, he will feel it. Men are far more intuitive than we give them credit for. They can sense when your energy is still hooked into them, and they can sense when you've let go. And here's what happens when you genuinely detach. Suddenly the dynamic shifts. He's no longer in the position of power. He's no longer the one being pursued. And if he has any real interest in you, if there's any real genuine connection there, he will start to wonder, wait, why isn't she reaching out? Why isn't she trying to figure this out? Did I lose something valuable? And that's when his ego starts to crack, not because you tried to punish him, but because you gave him the space to miss you and he realized what he had. Real detachment is not going cold. It's staying warm while you let go. Real detachment isn't slipping on dark sunglasses, turning to stone, and pretending you don't care whether he texts you back or not. That's not true detachment. That's just your nervous system dressing up like Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama, and no one's really buying it. Authentic detachment is actually the opposite of that. It's softness. It's trust. It's being so rooted in God, in yourself, and in your feminine essence that whether he calls, whether he commits, or whether he shows up on your timeline, you're still the most magnetic woman in any room that you enter. Chase a man and you train him to sit back and coast. You get in a car, you're in the passenger seat, and suddenly you lean over, grab the steering wheel, and you start redirecting the whole trip. Well, what happens? Eventually, you crash the car. Now, that is exactly what happens when you are the one chasing the next relationship milestone, pushing for commitment, deciding when it's time for the next step, forcing the relationship forward while he is just along for the ride. The second you stop checking on him, he starts thinking about you. The moment you release the timeline often speeds up. The second you stop checking his last active status on Instagram or WhatsApp like you're monitoring a nuclear reactor, he often starts thinking about you more, not less. The moment you stop trying to force things often finally start moving on their own. Think about a woman who's trying to fall asleep. The harder she tries, the more wide awake she becomes. The second she finally surrenders, sleep arrives. You can also think about it like planting a seed into the ground, but constantly digging up the seed to see if it's starting to germinate, which only delays the process even longer. Attraction works the same way. Relationships work the same way. Do everything for a man and he starts to feel unnecessary. Here's the core principle behind masculine and feminine polarity. The masculine gives and the feminine receives. That's not a preference. That is biology. That's God's design. In a healthy dance, the man leads and provides the experience. In caveman times, the man was the hunter, the provider, the one who brought something to the table. The woman was the gatherer, the nurturer, the one who received and multiplied what was given. When you're out here buying him gifts and splitting every check and picking up dinner, you have stepped directly into his masculine role. You've taken his job away from him, and here's what happens to him at a deep level. He doesn't feel moved. He doesn't feel inspired. He feels unnecessary. And a man who feels unnecessary to you will slowly drift towards a woman where he does feel necessary. Men say they love a woman who treats them, but what a man actually responds to is being your provider, being the one who gives to you. That polarity is what creates his desire, his attraction, and eventually his devotion. A man does not hunger for what he never had to earn. You give too much too soon to men who haven't proved themselves. You cook for him, you drive to see him, you plan the dates, you give him compliments, you boost his ego, you make his life easier. And you do all of this thinking it's going to make him fall for you, thinking it's going to make him see your value, but it does the opposite. Because when you give to a man, you're operating from masculine energy. The masculine gives, the feminine receives. When you're constantly giving to a man, you're putting yourself in the masculine role and him in the feminine role. And that kills attraction. He might enjoy it, he might appreciate it, but he's not going to feel that pull towards you. He's not going to feel that hunger to commit to you because you've already given him everything without him having to do anything to earn it. So when a man ignores you, one of the most powerful things you can do is stop giving. Stop doing things for him. Stop making his life easier. Stop trying to prove your worth through what you can do for him. Stop being his mommy. Your femininity is the gift. Your presence is the gift. Your vulnerability, your softness, your openness, that is what he should be working to earn access to. Not your solving his problems. Not your making him feel good about himself. And here's what happens when you stop giving. Suddenly, he has to step up. He has to pursue. He has to give to you if he wants to keep you in his life. The prize never chases. The prize gets pursued. The egg doesn't chase the sperm. The flower doesn't chase the bee. Rose didn't chase Jack around the Titanic begging for him to define the relationship. The feminine is the prize. The feminine attracts, then selects. A queen doesn't triple text a man to confirm Saturday night. A queen doesn't drive 40 minutes in rush hour traffic to his apartment because he wants to hang out for a bit. A queen doesn't reshape her entire calendar around a guy who hasn't even reshaped one Tuesday for her. A queen radiates, signals, and then lets the masculine come to her, pursue her, and prove that he's worthy of her time. If you find yourself playing Sherlock Holmes with his Instagram, zooming in on the blurry reflection in his sunglasses to see if there's another woman in his car, then you are not in queen energy. You are an unpaid private investigator. A queen chooses, she doesn't chase. Walling up feeds his ego. Staying open humbles it. When a man ignores you, you want to protect yourself. You want to put up walls. You want to show him that you don't need him, that you're fine without him. But here's the truth. When you close off your heart, when you guard yourself, when you become hard and defensive, you're actually feeding his ego because now he doesn't have to feel anything. He can walk away without guilt. He can tell himself, see, she didn't really care anyways. It's not bothering her. But when you stay open, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, when you share your feelings without blame or criticism, something shifts. Suddenly, he has to sit with the reality that his actions have an impact on someone who genuinely cares. And for a man with a healthy masculine core, that will humble his ego more than anything else you could do. He cannot step into his masculine while you are carrying it for him. Because a healthy masculine man wants to give to his woman. He wants to provide. He wants to solve problems for her. He wants to lead, but he can only do that if you're in your feminine energy receiving, not if you're in your masculine energy giving. Give a man room and he will cross the country to chase you. When Auntie and I were first dating, she didn't push the relationship anywhere. She was open and vulnerable with me, but she let me drive. And something in me woke up. And literally, I ended up driving her one time around the island of Oahu in my motorbike. So that's another story. But the thing is, I didn't feel trapped. I felt pulled. I felt inspired to pursue her, to prove myself, to earn her. That is what happens when you trust the masculine to lead. Mother a man and he stops wanting you. Free him and he cannot leave. You did not start a relationship. You accidentally started a renovation project. And shockingly, he didn't sign up to be your renovation project. This isn't build a boyfriend. You can't just unzip a man and rip out his avoidant tendencies and replace them with a ready-to-commit voice box. He is not a Roomba that you can just reprogram by pushing the right buttons. He's not a fixer-upper on HGTV where you knock down one of his emotional walls and suddenly he's your dream kitchen. And here's the most important piece. When you accidentally become his mommy by directing, correcting, and managing him, you have just destroyed the polarity that attraction requires. A man can love his mother deeply, but he does not feel romantic desire for his mother. And he is absolutely not going to fully commit to a woman who he feels like a child with. Mommy energy and wifey energy cannot coexist. You have to pick one. And some men may say they want a woman who takes care of them, but what they actually respond to is a woman who shares how she feels and trusts him to step up on his own. That distinction is the entire game. One is masculine control, the other is feminine vulnerability and allowing him to rise. One pushes him away, the other one makes it nearly impossible for him to walk away. A man rises for a woman he is afraid to lose. She knows her worth so deeply that she doesn't need to prove it, perform it, or justify it to anyone. She simply is it, naturally. And when a man encounters that kind of woman, something in him stands up straight. He doesn't feel rejected, he feels challenged in the best possible way. He thinks, this woman is different. This woman is worth rising for. One of our clients, Krista, used to lose herself completely every time a strong man showed up in her life. She'd put him up above herself, overgive, over-accommodate, and then sit in confusion about why he kept pulling back. When she finally stepped into her queen energy and held her own worth, everything shifted for her. He is not looking for a woman who does it all. He wants the one he cannot stop thinking about. Response. Everything in this video traces back to one simple, ancient, divinely designed truth. The masculine gives, the feminine receives. The masculine hunts, the feminine attracts. The masculine drives, the feminine enjoys the ride. Stop doing so much and start being more. Because the right man is not looking for a woman who can do everything for him. He's looking for a woman that he cannot stop thinking about. If you'd like to discover the next best step for mastering detachment with your specific situation, make sure to also take...
So reiterating regarding the email, letter, and or text, explaining your vulnerability, your standards, your feelings. You have expressed that you care about him quite a bit. And you like where this is going. Okay? And then you would like a deeper connection. And you've also expressed what is hurting you. What's causing heartbreak. And it has a lot to do with the monitoring spirits that were all around. And not allowing the connection to flow. Possibly because they were jealous of this beautiful connection that they were noticing. There's an aura. There's a vibe amongst you two. Okay? Now, you also set some boundaries and stated you will retrieve. You will be able to let go for the sake of sanity and emotional stability. Because you're not the chaser, is what you were trying to say. And you also love yourself. And you know your worth and you know what you deserve. And that there is no pressure to, progress, but you left it there on the table for him to either rise to the occasion, or he could possibly just, disappear into the past and you move forward. So the Most High said to give it to him and then to retreat while you are attending to your new assignment. So when you left the letter there, you were kind. You are still going to pray for the individual, and you still see him in high regard. Okay? You still honor him. And all of that was loads and loads of vulnerability, which then triggers the individual to sit with all of those memories of you two, and with the letter or email, whatever. And now he's got to do something about it, and or not. But seeing how distraught he already was when you mentioned that you're now going to 2 different places, not just one, that was already triggering. So the fact that you said you possibly may not even return, if it's not going to go, if it's not going to continue, because there's a deadline. This man, Brody, is stating, you don't put a timeline, but the Most High has a timeline, and there's a Kairos moment of an open door for marriage, and it is not going to stay open forever, right? You can't have this door open to this individual forever. Why? Because the other door for you already opened. And that in itself, him knowing that you're going somewhere where another individual is available for love, and possibly knows that that other individual is into you. Okay? All the more would possibly cause the individual to have a crash out, which in the prophetic dream, it was very obvious that person was crashing out and getting wrecked. Okay? So this is affecting him very much. You definitely pulled all the way away. The Most High wants you to pull all the way away and leave room in your heart for someone else. Now I want you to listen to a prophetic word with the title, Someone is Shocked They Thought You Were Upset, but You Were Actually Done. With At Purpose and Promise 1 with Judith. Do you recall when Brody with Magnetize Your Man was explaining that you pull your energy all the way away? Okay, not with anger or bitterness and hardship, okay? But you need to pull your energy all the way away. And I'm not just saying pulling it away as in not being around the individual. Remember, there was a time frame of distance, a time frame of not interacting is what the Most High wants you to do between 2 to 3 weeks of that. Okay. So, I mean, when you are not interacting at all, not even in the same room, in the same building at all, you're in your house, that person's doing their own thing, remove your energy as well in that segment of time. In your heart and mind, do not put him in your mind to think about. Revert all of that energy that you invested in thinking about and put it into yourself. Because you need to find yourself again. Because you need to come back into your feminine energy. And when he not only sees that you're not there around him, but then your spirit man is also not connected, it's going to be a triple whammy of a wake-up call. And he's going to understand just how much you were in his mind and how much he loved his life that way. And now it's not like that. He's going to realize that a lot of his joy and a lot of his peace and a lot of his security and his comfort and companionship came from you. And he's going to see life in reality, how it possibly could be if you were just not there ever again. And that's going to scare him to his core, which is, quote unquote, the crash out. And with the prophetic dream on chapter 58 and chapter 80, that I elaborate a little bit further, it discusses just how drastic that crash out was. Like, as in, it was so intense, He couldn't climb out by himself. There's something that has to happen in the future, which you need to watch the next videos. This is Purpose and Promise with Judith. Again, the title is Someone is Shocked. They thought you were just upset, but you were actually done. This is how much you need to pull your energy back into yourself.
Someone is shocked. They thought you were just upset, but you were actually done. You know, there comes a time in some relationships when silence is completely misunderstood. One person believes the silence is temporary, and, you know, they go as far as assuming you are cooling off, right? This person assumed that you were just cooling off. And so they thought that they still had a chance, because they tell themselves, give it a few days, right, and they'll come around. This person mistook your quiet for another chapter in the same story. What they don't realize is that the story has already ended for you, right? That's the shock that this person is living with now. Because they thought that you were just upset, they are beginning to see things from another perspective. You were not just upset, you were actually done. The reason this person did not recognize it is because they had seen you hurt before. They had actually watched you cry, okay? And so this person has seen you display different range of emotions. They've seen you forgive, so they thought it's another phase, right? Because after they had seen all of the things you've been through, they never thought you would reach your limit at this point, right? So when things became quiet again, they assume, oh, it's another phase. This time would be no different. This person believed that, you know, they already know your patterns. Now in their mind, right, you would eventually call, you would eventually text, you would eventually try to resolve, right, like you have always done, right? They knew that they always had those chances before, but this time something inside you had definitely changed. Not overnight, right? Not because of one argument, not because of one, you know, disappointing conversation. These things happen slowly, right? You know how like a candle is burning, right? It burns lower and lower until there's nothing left of it. There's nothing left to give with a candle. Now, that is what has unfolded. And the truth is, people often notice, you know, the day someone leaves. They rarely notice the hundreds of moments that led to the decision. They don't see the night you went to bed wondering if things would ever change. This person never saw that. This person they didn't hear the prayers that you prayed when no one else was around, right? So they don't know how many times you have actually convinced yourself to stay because you believe tomorrow might be different. Those moments were invincible to everyone except you. While they were assuming everything was fine, you were already grieving the relationship or the friendship, right? That's what makes this situation so different. By the time you walked away, you had already mourned what you were leaving behind. Emotionally, you had been saying goodbye long before your feet moved. That is why your peace surprised them. They expected you to cry. They expected tears, right? They expected emotional messages. This person knew or had this confidence that you would explain yourself. So they were expecting long explanations. Instead, none of that happened. You became really quiet. Not because you had nothing to say, because you had already said everything that needed to be said. Sometimes silence is not confusion. Sometimes silence is just simply closure. That's the part that this person never understood. And another reason, right, that they are shocked is because they mistook your patience and thought that it was permanence, that's how you would always be. So every time you forgave them, they knew they would always have that opportunity. Every time you overlooked another disappointment, they knew you would always be available. They assumed your heart had an endless supply of second chances. They confuse your grace with unlimited tolerance. But grace doesn't mean there are no boundaries, right? No. And patience does not mean there is no limit. There is. Every heart reaches a place where it stops asking for what it has repeatedly been denied over and over. Not because your heart no longer cares, because your heart has finally accepted the reality of who this individual is, and that is where you have arrived. You stop trying to convince someone to value what they had already chosen to overlook. That decision changed everything. That, strange, that is just strange to them. You did not become a harder person. You became very clear. You became clearer. You stopped arguing. You stopped defending yourself, right? You stopped chasing conversations that never led anywhere. You stopped carrying relationship by yourself. So you just stopped all of that. And from the outside, it looked like you had, simply become quieter. But inside, you had made one of the biggest decisions of your life. You were done fighting battles that only one person wanted to win. At first, they were not concerned, right? They were not concerned at all. In fact, they felt strangely confident because they believed your distance was another emotional reaction. This person thought that enough time would solve everything as usual. So they waited. A few days passed, then weeks. So time just begins to unfold, still nothing. That is when uncertainty began replacing confidence. They started checking for signs. Maybe you post something, maybe you reach out, so many maybes, maybe a mutual friend would mention your name. So they kept expecting proof that you were still emotionally connected. Instead, they found something they were not prepared for. You were moving forward, not loudly, not dramatically, just steadily. You were just moving forward. And your life no longer revolved around what they were doing. Your happiness was not dependable on whether they changed. You had stopped waiting, and that realization hit harder than they expected, because for the first time, they understood something they had refused to believe. You were not trying to teach them a lesson. You were not trying to manipulate them or whatsoever. You had simply accepted what they never thought you would. And that's some relationship can only survive if one person keeps sacrificing. It cannot. And you were no longer willing to be that person that will be used. So you picked your battles, right? That's what they say. You picked your battles and you believe that you are worth more. And so you kept on moving forward. And this is something that this person cannot accept, but that is on them. Family, please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so.
All right, so I want you to listen to this song that I woke up to. And this is the song that the Most High wants you to sing in this hour. This is from 3 Beat for Joy. These are three ladies who harmonize very beautifully. This song is called Joy by Vashawn Mitchell. And this is the attitude that you're walking into your new chapter. This is the song that you sing. Why? because you have a really good Heavenly Father who's looking out for you. And proclaiming joy, proclaiming these declarations over your life through singing is going to get you where you need to go and ascend. You're also maturing in the spirit, and you will feel uplifted. You will feel alive again. Vitality will be entering into your soul. Okay, besides drinking bone broth, while you've been in the Elijah's cave dealing with sorrow and grief and loss and heartbreak, you need to be taking care of your health. And some of you are going to probably feel so down that it's going to be hard to even function at that level. I would say, that probably wasn't a healthy circumstance for you. And something beautiful is coming into your life. Whether the potential king ordained spouse wakes up and takes action, or whether it's the other ordained spouse, you have a relationship with your Heavenly Father, and He is taking care of you. So He wants you to embrace this new chapter with song.
Never been so free, caught in your love for me. Never been more secure, knowing your heart, Lord. And that's it.
Practice makes perfect.
Now, let's move on to soprano. There's beauty in my brokenness. I've got true love instead of pain. There's freedom though you've captured me. I've got joy instead of mourning. There's beauty in my brokenness. I've got true love instead of pain. There's freedom though you've captured me. I've got joy instead of mourning. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul.
To the bridge. Go.
Never been so free, caught in your love for me. Never been more secure, knowing your heart, Lord. Never been so free, caught in your love for me. Never been more secure, knowing your heart, Lord. 'Cause you give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep